Welcome back to this special edition of Hannity. The media mob, guess what? Still has not learned their lesson from the election. Here's CNN giving some very questionable advice to the ailing Democratic Party.
I think DEI is really important. But the reason why DEI is important is because it's going to make America more competitive, and we're going to be able to go out into the world and win and keep our companies as competitive as possible. That's not really a progressive argument, but it is an argument that includes every American, which is what Democrats stand for.
The people actually that they should be listening to, Bernie Sanders and Stacey Abrams. Those are the two people who have been very consistent and very in touch with the American public that have been related to the Democratic Party. Those are the people that are going to help pick the leadership of the Democratic Party, or at the very least should be helping to pick the leadership of the Democratic Party as we move forward into this next election cycle.
Yeah, well, they should just keep going with that advice because it's very, very bad for them. Unfortunately, this is par for the course for the mainstream media. For example, according to last week's MRC study, the broadcast network's coverage of Donald Trump's cabinet picks has been 96% negative, or whatever. But at the same time, polling shows that a majority of Americans approve of the president-elect's transition and believe that he will do a good job in his second term. All while Donald Trump's favorability rating reaches a 7-year high. Keep in mind, that's after everything the media and that this swamp did to him. He's more popular than ever. Here now with reaction, Gaines for Girls podcast host Riley Gaines, you know her well, and Fox News contributors Joe Concha and Leo Terrell. They never have any opinions. I'm going to have to drag it out of them. Riley, I do want to start with you because, you know, we're looking at, it's almost like mass hysteria that they lost an election. There was a statement about what we wanted and what we didn't. Your work is based in what we don't want, which is we don't want biological men in women's sports. It's an issue of fairness. And yet the DEI, it's like saying, oh, it's going to make us more competitive. How does not hiring people on merit make you more competitive? How do you respond to this refusal to acknowledge the reality of our situation?
Yeah, well, it's very good to be with you, Tammy. Look, DEI does not stand for diversity, equity, and inclusion. It stands for discrimination, exclusion, and indoctrination. And so to watch this, and I think it's important to mention, too, that the two Democrats that they named to be able to follow and to take advice from was Stacey Abrams, a two-time loser and runs for Georgia governor, and the 83-year-old socialist that is Bernie Sanders. So I mean, did they learn nothing on November 5th? I certainly believe, and I've said this many times, even on Hannity's show before, I believe people turned out to the polls to embrace Donald Trump, to embrace his cabinet picks, to embrace the America First agenda, but more so, I believe that people turned out to the polls to reject absurdity. And that is exactly what the Democratic Party has become, allowing men and women's sports, believing that men can become pregnant and that they can breastfeed. The whole idea of referring to Latino individuals as Latinx. Democrats have lost the ability to communicate with common sense, everyday Americans.
Yes, and the good news is, but others have been out there to point that out and to provide the example of the opposite, like yourself. Joe Concha, you look at the media all the time, but you're also an analyst. You see the nature of what is going on here. What's your thought on this refusal to embrace the truth?
Well, the 45th and future 47th president, Tammy, won the popular vote, won the electoral vote in a landslide. His party won back the Senate. They held the House. 48 of 50 states went more red than blue. Yet nearly 100% of the coverage of the Trump transition is negative. I mean, that's 31 flavors of idiocy. I mean, our legacy media, Tammy, has learned nothing. You know why? Because they choose to learn nothing. Most of our media only exists to serve at the pleasure of the Democrat Party. There will be no come to Jesus moment, only continued come to, Soros moments, I guess. Donald Trump or anyone who doesn't have a D next to their name will never get a fair shake. CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, Washington Post, PBS, CBS, NBC, pick your acronym. They will never change as long as their so-called talent and management stays the same. These are activists, not journalists, and they'll go down with the ship before they ever change or apologize. Well, that's where we're at this point.
The good news
Go
is
ahead, Tammy.
The good news is that it didn't work. They did this for 8 years against Donald Trump, And then the only positive for Biden, with the exception of after Afghanistan, which the debacle of that was just horrible. Leo, what Joe describes, it didn't work. In fact, it had the opposite effect. What do you think that means?
Well, it tells me this, Tammy, based on everything you just talked about and what Joe said and what Riley said. The Democrats and the leftists are going to continue. They do not want Trump to succeed. They want him to fail. I will tell you this without any doubt. Expect them to attack, attack, attack. They don't care about saving or preserving or making America great. They want to destroy America. So they will never find anything good in President Trump. President Trump was very clear what he wanted to do. Secure the border. The Democrats are against it. He wants law and order. The Democrats are against it. He wants to eliminate DEI. The Democrats are opposed to that. The people voted and spoke on November 5th, and the Democrats and the left-wing media basically got their hands over their eyes and hands over their ears. They don't care. They will go after Trump, but I'll tell you this. Trump is going to succeed because he focuses on the needs of Americans, not the elite.
That's right. I mean, you're completely correct. If people are waiting for the left to have an epiphany, some kind of, come to Jesus moment, it's not going to happen. And it's clear. I mean, we have to recognize that, and I think we're ready for it. Riley, Joe, Leo, thank you very much. Great job, and I hope you all had a Merry Christmas.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.